Hi again, everyone. Welcome to the Atlantic 10 Friday Night Showcase. Mike Corey, Dallin Cuff. Looking forward to this one here. VCU's won 7 in a row, Dallin. 23 wins on the season. How good is this team playing right now?
Simply put, very good. But I'll give you some more words. We'll elaborate a bit. This team is playing like the tournament team that they are. They've won 13 in the last 14. And it's because they do so many things well on both sides of the ball. They're not just winning games, they're dominating. Look at their scoring margin and where that ranks in Division I. Defensively, high-level defensive team. They share the ball on offense. They turn you over. They offensive rebound, and that man, Max Scholga, is the leader in the clubhouse right now to be Player of the Year in the A-10. He impacts the game so much on both sides of the floor. Now, to remain undefeated at home, they got to shut down this guy, Reed Bailey, the leading scorer in the conference. He is top 20 in the nation in usage rate. The ball is in his hands so often. How they defend him, when they double, how they double, and if they can make him ineffective is the key to this game.
Tonight's officials, Roger Ayers with Kip Kissinger and Clarence Armstrong. We've done many games here, Dallin. It is so tough to play in this building. When you say you got to play 40 minutes, if you don't play 40 minutes here, you could play good for 37 minutes, and you might end up losing by double figures.
Absolutely. That 3-minute lull could be the difference. You have to be locked in, getting stops, taking care of the ball, and taking good shots. As Scholga gets 2 feet in the paint, hits a little fadeaway over Kuchera.
You said it right off the bat. The reigning Atlantic 10 Player of the Week gets the scoring started here tonight. Here's your Davidson starting 5. You mentioned Bailey. Connor Kuchera has been big for this team. 23, averaged 19, making 14 points a game. He's got 52 in his last 3, including 22 in the last outing.
It's a good job. They want to push Bailey out, but that's too easy to skip it across. But Durkin, who has just not shot at the level that he wants to or needs to this season at 33%, that's a wide open look.
VCU starting 5. More on Scholga. You can't leave him open from the outside. He's 12 of 16 in his last 3 games. He's shooting 44% from three-point range on the season. Caught a little traffic jam there was Luke Bamgboye, and Davidson ends up getting it. Mike Lockney. Here's Kuchera. Davidson's going to spread the floor here. They got Bailey up high. 10 to shoot.
So when they get to Bailey, they want to crowd into him, make him see bodies in those gaps. Tough shot.
Bamgboye redirected that one a little bit there. 22 in white for the Rams. Back to Scholga.
So they come off that ball screen. They don't blitz it. It's just like 2 guys kind of play one for a second. That allows, if Scholga makes the right decisions, for them to play an advantage situation. He did there. He skipped it over to Bamgboye. They get a drive. They get a drop off. Right now, they're very comfortable with how the Wildcats are defending.
Yeah, you made a good point about Bamgboye to me before the game. I mean, just watching him right now here in person, he has really bulked up this season.
He ended his pizza plant-based diet up until this past year. He started eating proteins, lean proteins, was put on 20 pounds and mostly muscle. Still has a 46-inch vertical. That is truly remarkable. Nothing changed. Good skip by Clark.
In the corner for 3, it's Philip Russell. And VCU has hit their first 3 shots on their way to a 7-0 lead to start.
They went over that in shoot-around. Great job by Ryan Odom and his staff talking about when they play in that middle of the floor, they're going to suck in on the corners off those shooters. You can skip it across. You'll get looks.
Bamgboye is all over Durkin, and he knocks the ball away. And now Hunter Adams able to come up with it. It's back to Kuchera trying to work on Scholga. Nice bounce pass, and a rejection inside by Bamgboye, who's done that all season. He's got 61 blocks, and that leads the team. Bamgboye, speaking of rejections, blocked by Reed Bailey.
Yeah, he's top 20 in the nation in shot blocks, and you can see why. This 7'4" wingspan on display, and that's Reed Bailey, leading scorer. Nah, man, get out of there. He just got up, great timing, straight up and down, and allows him to get out in transition. Another one of the keys to this game is how Davidson runs offense. They can't turn it over. They've done that once already. And then you have a situation where if they take a bad shot or if there's a block like that, they're going the other way. You've got to convert back and defend.
Scholga got it in there to Jack Clark, and now we have a foul on Davidson. Threading the needle there on that one. There's Ryan Odom. And you know, what a really spectacular job he's done here in just the 2nd season. And you know, overall, I mean, this is the 25th consecutive winning season for this VCU Rams team, and they are not slowing up. Bamgboye again inside. It's 9-0.
And let's be real. I mean, Ryan Odom was outstanding at Towson. He was great at Utah State. And now he's at VCU and doing exactly what he expected. And people from the outside, the fans, expected of him as well. I mean, these VCU coaches are, well documented how successful they've been over the last 2+ decades. But how about Bamgboye? His hands and just patience and composure for a freshman to corral that, put it off the glass, never seemed harried.
Here's Zach LaPut. The foul was on Bamgboye, his first for VCU.
So they do switch a decent amount. So you got Bailey with Bamgboye guard him. They got to help down, help him. Bamgboye came a little late. He's going to want to have to help off that, but when they get caught in different switches, you will have guards on Bailey. And this is good recognition by Bailey, too. He knows he's got a smaller player on him. See, Bamgboye, at first, when he first reached in, I would have liked to see him get one more step closer to make Bailey pick it up then, versus when he retreated right away, he allowed him still to get into that seam.
It was the first time that Davidson really even had an opportunity to try to get him the ball and go to work there on the block. I mean, they've yet to score as he misses the first free throw. We're 3.5 minutes into this first half. Bailey finally gets a point here for the Wildcats. Russell runs it into the front court here to get things set up.
See, 0 and red checked in. Manny Joseph's the freshman. Oh, great UCLA cut play down.
Clark from shoulder.
That'll drive Mike McKillop and staff pretty crazy. They went over. It's a simple UCLA cut. That's when you pass. There's a screen right there at the elbow extended, and they run off it. Well, you've got to jump to the ball and get over it. They don't do it. They talked about that cut. They sometimes run as a scoring cut, and it was too easy.
The pressure that VCU puts on you. Full court to start. They're all over you here on the offensive end.
And the athletic advantage they have in this game is notable. They've got better athletes. They can guard their yard better. They're quicker. They jump higher. And they're imposing their will on this game right now.
Davidson is 0 for 5 from the field. VCU, on the other hand, is 6 for 7 as Bamgboye takes it in. And Matt McKillop's got to get a timeout.
This is a tournament team. And the challenge with being at the Atlantic 10 this year, and challenge with being VCU particularly, is getting people to play you. You saw that 1-1 quad 1 record. They can only play who's on their schedule. And if nobody wants to pick up the phone and play them in the non-league, it's hard to build your resume. But when you watch the team, it's evident to me they're a tournament team. Whether they win in DC or not, they better be going. Now, the net reflects it, as does KenPom metrics, so they seem like they're in a good spot. And I hope that remains the case, because this team has continued to improve throughout the year and it's truly really good.
I agree. There's a block inside. Bamgboye's got a nice job that time as Phil Russell runs the floor. Now, Bamgboye and Bamgboye with their combination of blocks over 100 on the season. It's unbelievable. And now another jumper as Russell scores it here. It's 16-1.
And that's the thing, too, man. They shoot the ball well. In league play, they're making 10 threes a game, 36% clip, second in the conference in league play. And they've just been so hard to break down. Kuchera actually got a little one. He almost gave it away. But when Russell's making step backs like that in the corner, I mean, this is a wrap.
That is the first field goal made by Davidson here in this first half, coming over 5 minutes into the contest. It's already hard enough the minute you step on the floor here, and then they made it a little bit harder on themselves to begin this game for sure. Here's Bamgboye. It's going to be a traveling violation. Back to your point, though, about VCU, and I mean, I laugh when people say, is this a tournament team? Of course it's a tournament team. Nobody, like you said, nobody ever wants to play them, right? I mean, whether that's in the early part of the year or even at the end of the year, I mean, that's got to tell you something. Like, no, I don't want to play VCU. Like, if you weren't scared of a team, then it's a team that belongs in the tournament.
Look, for folks to understand this, when you do scheduling in the non-league, the power conferences have to give you the chance to play them. And they either buy you out or they pay you money to come play you, which that means they assume they're going to win. They don't do that with VCU. Nice cut by the foot. Good find by Bailey. Or you got to catch them in multi-team events. Some of the tournaments, like Dayton obviously got Iowa State, UConn, and North Carolina in Maui. That gave them a chance to play on a neutral court, but that's fortunate because they're in that event. If you're not in an event that has other good teams, nobody's paying for you and nobody's playing you because nobody wants to lose their job. Playing this VCU program the last 2 years, last 20 years has been a very tough out, whether they're on the road or at home. So you got to play and beat who you can when you can.
Ball knocked away here. Manny Joseph on the steal for Davidson. Hands off Durkin. Nice feed to Kuchera. Count the basket and the foul.
A little careless with the ball here. That was very good possession by the Wildcats. And Joseph does give them a little something different in this team, and he comes and drops it off to Durkin over to Kuchera. good finish. But Joseph's a really interesting story. He's a freshman, coming over from England, has been injured coming when he got here in the summer, and now 0 in red, and he's trying to acclimate himself. He's done that now. He's 17 minutes a game in league play, and he's been really good and gives them some athleticism, some versatility, and offensively, good ball mover, understands how to play, and he's actually been very efficient. He's shooting a high clip, over 50% from 2 and from 3 in league play.
No, he's been really good, and he's improved dramatically, as you said, throughout his freshman season. Coach McKillop talked to us about him earlier before the game, said he didn't practice until October, was dealing with a concussion for a little bit as well. So,
which as a freshman is really hard. Right. You can't just get acclimated and integrated into the group here. It's hard.
Really good job by the Wildcats here. 7-0 run over the last 1 minute and 20 seconds to get back within striking distance here. They're down by 8. Here's Bell, who's in the ball game. Over to Brandon Jennings. Now it's Bell wide open for 3. Ball knocked away. Cochero's got it.
Bell's got to stay in his jumper. He kind of leaned back. If he doesn't lean back, that goes right over the front rim and is in.
It's not really his game, though. He's now 2 of 27 from three-point range on the season. And speaking of threes, putting it up and in is Zach LaPut. And Davidson is within 5. What a good job on the response by the Wildcats after trailing 16-1.
A couple really good possessions on both sides of the ball. Here's another cut off the top. Shoulder gets it to go, but you can't have that. Like, that's the breakdowns are too easy. Like, VCU's still getting in such easy scoring areas. And Davidson, those are avoidable mistakes. Nice drive by Bailey. Oh. Got to use the window. Right. I wasn't sure if he wanted to dunk it or lay it up, and that then decision cost him.
For 3, Jackson not there. Offensive rebound by Jennings. Back over to Zeb Jackson. And now for Bell.
Again, lead offensive rebounding team, top 20 in the nation in offensive rebounding percentage. And they just, here we go. They got their 3rd one already.
It was tap back out that time by Christian Furman. Jackson on the drive, yes. Looking for the foul as well, but he'll take the 2.
And he's got one of the quickest first steps in this conference, but Joseph, as a freshman, has to understand, he prefers to drive right. So when he gives you that jab left, you got to stay home. He reacted big time to it and gave him the lane down with his right hand, despite being a left-handed player. That's a drive right, finish with his left.
That's a really good point there. What a luxury, right, to have Zeb Jackson coming off the bench, by the way. That's how good he is. Yeah. That's some of the great players they have.
A Michigan transfer who's been really good here, part of that championship team back in 23. A-10 championship team.
That's what Coach Odom told us today. They're competing for the championship. That's their goal right now. Win the Atlantic 10 championship. We'll take all the doubt out, really, but there really isn't any doubt, because we feel like we said it's a tournament team, but that's their goal. They set out, and they're number 1 right now. They beat George Mason. They earned the tiebreaker over them. Both teams are 13-2 in conference play.
Welcome back to the Siegel Center here. 2011 VCU leading. A couple of assistant coaches coming home to where they were some of the greatest players in program history. Jack Gibbs graduated from Davidson in 2017, scored over 2,000 points, 4th leading scorer in the history of that program. Bradford Burgess, an outstanding player here, graduated in 13, was on that Final Four team, integral on that Final Four team in his 2nd year here. And of course, his jersey is also in the rafters here hanging up, which I asked him before. Do these guys know how good you were? I think they have some sense, I think, but they're a little older. Jack was funny because I was like, well, do they know how good you were? He's like, yeah, they're aware. I mean, I still get out there and mix it up in the scout team. So Jack will get out there and try to give him some buckets. But today, we were watching them in shoot-around, and at the end of most shoot-arounds, teams shoot half-court shots. And let's just say Davidson's was not going well. It was not pretty. And Jack was his idea to do it. He went about 15th or 20th. I said, how much money that he makes this thing? Everybody knew he was going to make it. He walked right up, stroked it like a normal jump shot, like Steph Curry. Yeah. Very similarly looking, like it was not forced at all. And then we had to watch a few more, but then Matt McKillop shut it down and said that was kind of embarrassing. But Gibbs he was money and nobody was surprised.
He was an incredible shooter.
Oh, man.
Right? I mean, you saw it there as Furman gets the cleanup off the shoulder, miss for 2. And he's been able to relate to these players. Both players have, right? I mean, it just means a little bit more, I feel like, right? When you come back to your alma mater and you're there trying to help your team do what you did when you were a player.
Exactly, and they're both carrying on tradition of being successful. Like, they were on winning teams here. They won championships, went to Final Fours, and it's not just Burgess. I mean, we talked about Darius Theus also is on the staff for VCU. He's come and gone a couple times. He was here with Shaka, he was here with Will Wade. He's gone back and forth, but DT, as they call him, was on the 13 team, was a backup point guard on the 11 team. So bringing back successful people that know how to win and have won here always translates to the players, especially these are younger guys, too, that still can connect with these guys sometimes in a different way.
How about going against Jack Gibbs on the scout team, by the way? How tough would that be?
Not fun. Not fun.
Right. Russell blocked inside by Mike Loughnane for Davidson. And it's up to Durkin here.
And Gibbs was a play creator too, man. You could close out so fast on him, and then he would get in the lane and create. Just two really great players.
That's way off on the three by Reed Bailey.
I mean, he can shoot it. He shoots an efficient number, 8 for 20 now in league play, which is 40%, but it takes him a while to get his stroke up. Now he's going to go to the bench, and with this lineup, it is a smaller lineup who's already struggling to get defensive rebounds, and then how they score becomes particularly complicated as far as how they're going to get good looks, because everything really likes to go through Bailey when things are going well.
And playing streaky here is obviously never a good thing. Davidson started 0 for 7 from the field. They went 4 or 5 to try to climb back in him, and now they're 0 for their last 3. And they're being doubled up right now by VCU, 22-11. Jackson back inside Furman. That is a go. It rims out.
And the bigger problem, Mike, though, is the 16 points in the paint. They're getting paint touches and both their feet into the paint on almost every possession. You can't survive like that.
Excellent point. 16-6 points in the paint in favor of VCU so far here in the first half. So Durkin works on Clark. Double team comes down by Furman. Shovels it inside for LaPut.
I think there's a bad read by Furman and a great pass by Durkin, and good. The LaPut was cut to that block, but there was no reason for Furman to come double. I thought Clark had him just square. It was just fine. He was in complete control of the situation. Make him score over you.
Shulga inside Furman, and is that out of bounds off of Davidson? I think off a foot. Yes, going to stay with VCU. And Joe Bamgboye coming back in for Zeb Jackson for the Rams. There's Matt Henry, too, by the way, as well. Assistant coach here for VCU. Has done a really, really good job with this group. There's a lot of the scouts, and I think really connects well with the players. We talked to him earlier.
Absolutely. I mean, both these staffs are very good, but I mean, Coach Henry knows Ryan for years now. They've been working together in the same staff. So having a staff, too, especially when you take over a new job, that you know the expectations, you know how you want to build it, you know how you've had success previously, is critical.
Bamgboye. Clark to the corner. Russell puts up the 3, and that's not there. And the rebound by Robert Blooms here for Davidson.
Good box out by Blooms.
Davidson's a team that's been in some close games this year. They have 6 losses by 6 or less. And remember, they're also dealing with the injury to Sean Logan, who they lost after 11 games this year. He's cut their depth down a little bit. Nice little tip up, and it doesn't go, but another try on it by LaPut, who is battling, and he gets the basket and the foul.
D2, 2-time All-American at Bentley up in the Northeast. Huge right there because he missed the layup. So Loughnane missed that first layup because the athletes, he tried to throw it too high up off the glass. But sticking with it, get it in the and one. Well done by LaPut. Manufacturing offense. It's not a team that offensive rebounds very much. Not a team that gets the free throw line very much. You have to manufacture offense when you can. Now miss 2 free throws in this half.
Hey, ton of credit, though, here for Davidson to try to fight their way back in this. Bamgboye, though, goes right to the hole, and it's hard to stop that.
Well, Matt McKillop just throws his hands up. It's off a dead ball free throw. And again, the transition defense is not good enough. When Bamgboye beats one guy, there should be other bodies back there loaded to the ball and eyes on the ball.
How long do you think it takes to get Reed Bailey back in here?
He can't sit very long. After this under 8 timeout, assuming he's got to come back in the game.
Blooms, a step back 3. You're shaking your head.
You don't want that shot. You need your offense to help your defense, as Matt McKillop said. Good shots need to be taken, so we're not always in transition defense. We're making them work more on the defensive end and just settling for that.
Oh, it's an offensive foul here on Bamgboye. That's going to be his second.
was a beast in that game, but Janai Broom, folks, he's worth tuning in. He's going to be him or Cooper Flagg, the National Player of the Year. Yeah. Auburn is an efficient offense on a level we haven't seen historically. They are so efficient. They are so deep. And I think they can walk into Rupp and walk out with the W, but it's going to be awesome at 1 o'clock tomorrow on ABC.
All right, we shall see. Getting your weekend started here tonight with our second to final Atlantic 10 Friday night showcase game here from the Siegel Center in Richmond, Virginia. Reed Bailey's back in for Davidson. The shot clock is winding down, and he got fouled. And it's going against Brandon Jennings. That's going to be the second for him. That is the 6th VCU team foul in this first half with 7:01 to go.
I'll tell you what the crowd was doing, because they were counting down ahead of the clock. There was 8 seconds of the shot clock, but I thought they made Bailey force a bad position. Tough call, but ultimately I thought a good defensive possession by VCU, really.
Yeah, they do that here a lot. Cochera. Up to Durkin. Yeah, almost got taken away by Clark. Back to Cochera. Bang his way in against Shoulder. Russell comes down and gets called for the foul. And, you know, it's an aggressive team. But now they picked up their 7th. And we're shooting free throws here for Davidson for the rest of the first half.
Yeah, and that was an easy call there. And now this is a bigger problem. Okay, Russell did get up. Like, a bigger problem if he stays down. He's hurt, but that one was, he just raked down on the arms with Cochera.
Cochera, 77% free throw shooter on the season, and that's, you got to have these. So that's the 3rd free throw miss already in the first half.
And that's the front end of a 1-on-1, so you surrender another chance. It could be 4 points. I mean, that is a big difference in this game right now.
High pass collected, though, by Clark, who drains a 3. So what's that? About a 5-point swing right there, potentially.
And that was Shulga again reading it. Now, that pass was high. It took a while to get there, but still got there. When they kind of more aggressively came on the ball screen at 2. Was able to skip it over the top and deliver that pass to Jack Clark, who started the year in non-league play, 10 of 51 from 3. This is a guy at Clemson, Elite 8 team last year, was a starter, made big shots. As Durkin can't get that one to go. 10 of 51. He now is shooting 43% from 3 in league play. And here we go again.
Here's Winston. Make it 44%.
No mathematician. It may be 45. I don't know.
Right.
But what I will tell you is it's a testament to Ryan Odom. And Coach Henry said as much. He just imbues guys with confidence and says, hey, you're going to make them. We've seen you make them out your career. Keep shooting them. Keep shooting them. Don't think about it. If you make them in practice and you work, you can keep doing it. That's what he's doing now.
3 ball the other way for Davidson. And coming back is Bobby Durkin. They needed that as VCU had tied their largest lead of this game at 15. It's back down to 12.
It's a big response.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to keep counterpunching to get themselves out of this half in striking distance. We always talk about the first and last 4 minutes of each half is critical. Well, we are approaching that time where every possession is key, so they can get into the half with some momentum without losing all momentum.
Jackson, a lot of space, missed the turnaround. Offensive rebound. Clark bounces it inside, and the hook is good by Bamgboye.
Offensive rebounds again. I mean, they are hurting. It's the 5th of the game. They've now got 8 second chance points, so it's almost every one they've got they've scored off of, which is problematic. We've seen this happen with Davidson. I think it was Loyola Chicago game. That they've had some issues with. Their first shot defense was great, but their second shot defense was not, because they were constantly giving up rebounds.
Overall, it's a +10 on the rebounding advantage here for VCU at 19-9 early. Bailey gets in deep, misses on the runner, and an offensive rebound. Durkin now. Well, it's back to Bailey instead. Got it to Cochera for 3. And the rebound by Jackson.
It's a great decision by Durkin. Great drive, jump stop, playoff 2. Couldn't get the 3 to go. Good pass.
Look out, another 3 by Russell in the corner. That one no good, though. Durkin has it. Four minutes to go, first half. 14-point VCU lead off the screen, locked in.
Here comes a double because they have a mismatch. Jeb Jackson, now Bamgboye stays on him.
It's just what VCU wanted. They didn't let Bailey catch it deep into the post, and he had to pass it back out, and now Shulga saves it from going out.
I'll tell you what, Jack Clark's not going to like that closeout, though, on film. That was a horrific closeout that gave Durkin a wide-open shot. No, it wasn't that. There was no effort in it.
We got a foul, and it's on Cochera, his first, and we've got a timeout. Sounds good. See
both of you tomorrow, gentlemen. Can't wait.
How do you do this, man? How do you get up there?
We're talking for a living. I'm not taking ditches. I say that to you when they're on the air. As soon as we get off there, like, I gotta get on the plane. I'm tired.
It's a big day. It's always a big day. These weekends now, I can't believe it. Tomorrow is March 1st.
I feel like we do say this every year. I mean, the days are long, but the years fly by as Davidson comes out in the 1-3-1. That we look up and it is March tomorrow, and we're coming down to the business end. Good job by Joseph. VCU has not assessed and identified this 1-3-1 and attacked it very well in this possession.
Shoulder to Bell, going baseline, gets shut off, back to shoulder. He puts up the three, it's no good. Rebound, Bamgboye, another offensive goal. That's out.
And he is going to be really impactful in his career here. Tremendous length, athleticism. He's a hard worker. He's really learned and understands what they're asking him on both ends of the floor. And that's just an effort play, too.
This team, to your point earlier, for so many years, quarter of a century, okay? I mean, they have an identity, right? I mean, he is a prototypical VCU player. Talking about number 9 and 1, right?
They're prototypical bigs. He will screen, he will roll, he'll offensive rebound, he'll block shots, and he's tough to beat on the defensive end.
I mean, they do such an amazing job of recruiting and bringing in players to fit this identity that VCU has developed and had for 25 years.
Well, we did talk about if VCU was going to keep this streak going this year in terms of their winning ways, 7 straight, have to shut down Reed Bailey. And Bailey has, to say the least, has really struggled in this game. He's 0 for 6. He seems sped up. That three that's his normal motion. It's a little bit of a wind-up. It takes a long time. He's just not become comfortable.
He's only got 1 point for number 1 in red for Davidson. Bamgboye there again. Bell also. Too many chances and opportunities, and I think they finally knocked it out of bounds. It's Davidson ball.
But you see the activity. Davidson can't get a clean rebound because they would like to play ahead of the defense too, but you got to get a clean rebound. Great move by Jennings, but here, the freshman. I don't know why we don't do this anymore. That backboard. A wise man once told me, the backboard is your friend. Throw that thing off the block. It's going in. When you try to shoot it with touch, that is a tough shot from 15 to 13 feet. Partially because the touch it takes. Secondarily, guys don't practice it that much anymore. If you practiced using the backboard, I tell you what, that's going in.
It's a really good point, and you're talking about right from that kind of point-blank range inside.
Well, that angle, when you're on that 45-degree angle, it's the easiest way to use the backboard, whether you're at 2 feet or 15 feet. It gives you margin of error. All you're doing is putting it up on that window, and it's going to go in likely if you just hit the box. The geometry is there. I'm not Archimedes, but they did it for you.
It also requires a little touch, though, too. You can't.
Well, I'm not saying smash it. Right. He's a good player. I was watching you shoot earlier. Yeah, you would have a problem doing that.
Look, I put a little thing on Twitter, whatever X, whatever they call it today. Is Bailey misses. I hit a 3-pointer. Everybody's asking me, how many did it take? How many did it take? I'll be honest, took 3.
Took 3? I thought it took longer than that. I don't know. He's got a couple interns here that are working with him and learning from you. It's like Darren from the Seinfeld episode. I'm not sure what they do, but they were filming you multiple times to make sure you could make the shot.
A fun time here today. Here's a relocation 3 for Clark, and he hits it. Jack Clark, it's 37-18, the largest lead of the night so far for VCU.
And a great ball fake by Clark, just under control. Whereas one team looks hurried and out of sorts a lot of times, the team in white is very comfortable.
Clark leads all scorers with 11 points here. And it's back inside for Bailey, and he is fouled. You can tell he's frustrated for sure. 50 seconds to go in this first half, and he's yet to make a field goal.
Again, this is a guy that was shooting 20%, 10 of 50, under 20%, 10 of 51 in non-league play. That is a confident, tough shot. Mind you, he's also 6'10", active defender, good hands. In his 7th year of college basketball, he had injuries. He was at LaSalle, went to NC State, went to Clemson, now ends up here at VCU. But this is an experienced team, man, and he's one of them experienced guys that impacts the game.
Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. College Game Day. We're live from South Bend ahead of a huge women's basketball doubleheader. Coming up, it's number 3 Notre Dame, number 25 Louisville. That's at noon on ESPN. And then we have Kentucky and South Carolina. ESPN this Sunday, starting with Game Day at 11 a.m.
Notre Dame, Hannah Hidalgo, one of the best players, most fun players to watch in the country. But you saw that number 6 next to South Carolina. Right. People have not been used to seeing that in recent years. There's a little more parity in women's basketball where a number of teams can win the title, a number of teams can get to a Final Four. It's, sizing up to a very fun March in women's game.
I feel like it was after that UConn blowout, right? That everyone said, oh, geez, what's going on here? But you know what? I feel like that happens a little bit, you know, and they're going to be back. I
No,
mean,
they're fine.
When you're off, you're off.
Well, UConn's 5th in the nation, so it's like you didn't get beat by some bubbles like there. These are really good teams, and South Carolina didn't play well against a really good team. That's what happens. But I think we also seen that in years past that would never have happened, but that shows some of the parity.
Clark again. He's got 14, and he's a perfect 4 for 4 from three-point range and 5 for 5 for the game.
Just against that 1-3-1, it really didn't impact them at all. They just swung it right from point A to point B, and Clark, he's in the zone. Kuchera's got to climb up in him. It's just too easy.
12 seconds left in the first half. VCU's done exactly what they wanted here. Put the hurt on early. Steal by Zach Jackson. Now they've got a chance in the final shot of the half. Jackson goes and goes. Wow.
This is your player of the year in the conference, most likely, Max Shoga. I thought he was going to take it. Davidson thought he was going to take it. Two guys were guarding him in transition. Now, let me just flip it to my wide-open running mate here. And Zeb Jackson steps right into an open 3. Now, granted, it's an NBA range 3, but he's stepping in momentum. They've made 7 triples. They make 10 in league play. This is a perfect half for VCU. Season low points in any half this season for Davidson. VCU is led by 19 or more in 16 games. Both corners nailing 3s, 7 of them. Jack Clark's got 4. We talked about how you start and finish halves. Well, the first 4 minutes were 0 field goals for Davidson. The last 4 minutes were 0 field goals. With 5 minutes to go, they were down 14. We said this is a critical moment. Can they stay in it? Well, no. 11-1 run the other way, and here we are, 24-point deficit.
Yeah, it's out of control. It's actually a 21-4 run by VCU over the last 8 minutes and 6 seconds of that first half. Rams are 19-3 when leading at the half this season. We said it, undefeated here at home, 14-0. And the closest any conference team has come to this VCU team was 12 points. Losing by 12 is 40 way back on January 8th. And their wins at home over the A-10, 12, 16, 14, 41, 30, 29, and then they beat George Mason by 16 points a couple of games ago. And doesn't help for Davidson. They have a new season low of 19 points in any half this year. It's
a credit to what VCU does to defensively, too. Their length and athleticism has affected Reed Bailey, and we've talked, everything's got to go through Bailey on the offensive end. He's laboring through this game at 0-7. He's 2 for 4 from the free throw line. And then on top of that, the speed at which they're making Davidson play at times, they just look uncomfortable.
You can almost mix and match any 2 players for VCU, and they're outscoring Davidson by themselves. I mean, Clark and Bamgboye with 20 points. Obviously, Davidson only has 19. And this is the first free throw attempts tonight for VCU as well. 2 for 2. And now their lead is 26.
It's a weird stat to say this, but how often VCU's gotten in the paint and had their offensive rebounding, for them to only shoot 2 free throws, it's showing you the lack of resistance at the rim to even have foul opportunities. They're just finishing on it.
Kuchera, a lot of white jerseys there, out to Reed Bailey, trying to work it in. That's short. Clark's got it. Davidson has now missed the last 8 shots. And no foul as Bamgboye hits the deck awkwardly, and he's out of bounds for the Rams. Get a little bit of help up.
Yeah, it wasn't a foul. It was just there was good defense. They got their hand on the ball, and he couldn't get it out to the to his teammate in the corner. You know, he's lucky there. The ball didn't land under his stomach. Because you can land on your stomach, it just takes all the wind out of you. He's kind of landed on his hip, which was better.
5 turnovers for VCU. Crazy enough, there's only been 3 turnovers for Davidson in this game. You think that down 26, you've been giving it up a lot against the pressure. It's not been the case.
They are top 20 in the nation in offensive turnover rate. They don't turn it over that much. It's 14% of their possessions. And that was a key in this game, to not turn it over. Well, they haven't, but your shot quality has been remarkably lower and much worse than their opponent.
Durkin on the drive. Yeah, the shot percentage not great, obviously, either, as evident of a 24-point lead. It's 25% shooting for Davidson so far as they go into Bamgboye. And he's had a couple of those tonight.
The help side is just way too slow, way too late. That kind of short roll pass, they talked about it in shoot around. You'll be able to set that screen and and short roll and be able to play make out of it. But it was like lobbed over the top, and there was no help side to get there to again, give resistance to Bamgboye.
I think every one of these VCU players, right, they just bring a little bit of something to the table, which makes it a complete team. And Bamgboye, as Bailey finally gets a bucket inside, that is actually Reed Bailey's first field goal of this game. He's 1 for 9. Like Bamgboye, it's like, hey, dunks and blocks. That's what we could use from you, right? I mean, he's got over 60 blocks.
I want you to screen. I want you there. He can short roll, play make a little bit. But yeah, here's another drive right down.
You call it.
But then the weak side help there. Where's the weak side again? Where's anybody able to see that action on the strong side happening? As you should be in the middle of the lane and be able to get over there and make some sort of play.
Philip Russell's been effective tonight as well. He's got 8 points for the Rams. Ties Bamgboye for second on the team behind Clark's 14. That's a travel. Yep.
This is an outstanding referee crew tonight. Kip Kissinger, Clarence Armstrong, and Roger Ayers have been on all over everything, and that was an obvious travel. And now Reed's going to the bench, Bailey. So again, how this group scores. It's a smaller lineup. They have to crash. 5 guys have to defend. You have to space the floor, and shooters have to look to take shots when they're available and not be hesitant. If you get into the lane, which they worked on to start shoot around. Yep. Back cuts, which we've got none of, but back cuts, shot fakes, playing off 2 in the paint.
Another one for Bamgboye from Davidson.
Just a simple down screen pop, and he rolled into space. A simple pin down screen.
Another steal, Shoga from Davidson, and he'll bring it back out. Shoga for 3. I was going to say, when it's going your way, right? The ball got knocked out of the hands of Clark. It stays with VCU.
Let's see Clark again. He creates an offensive rebounding opportunity. They couldn't clean it up. And there's a simple like down screen, pin down screen where 2 then come out to the one guy on the ball. He just slips it to him. Too easy.
Now, what are you doing there if you're Dirk? Or you got to stay with your guy, right?
Well, it's bad communication. Who was like, they should have stayed with their individual guys. Yes. You didn't need to have 2 running at once, so that was the problem. When 2 came out to play Bamgboye, all he does is drop it down. I do think, again, the rotations are a little slow on the weak side. Again, that was different because they were kind of lifted up higher. There wasn't really a clear weak side guy there, but again, the communication can alleviate a lot of this.
Substitutions here for VCU, and still Davidson ball.
And people may wonder, well, if it's almost a 30-point game, they're pressing. This is how they play. Right. They're going to play the way they play. And as the opponent, you have to be able to break that down. Now, part of the dealing with pressure isn't just not turning it over. It is the mental and physical exhaustion of every possession, getting the ball and be like, oh, we're doing this again?
Right.
And your boy here has been a point guard before where I'm like, we're doing this again? And you got to keep bringing it up. You got to keep getting into stuff. Luckily, he was wide open underneath. I didn't see him.
Cochera, double team coming down. Furman recovers back to his man. Now driving here. Up and under. Counted for Lockney.
That was exactly what they practiced. Great job. Jump stop, playing off 2, shot fake, get a guy in the air and flip it in.
Russell. Clark is not missed tonight. 5 for 5 from the field for number 4 in white. Yeah, Russell, a lot of dribbling here. Oh, nice feed inside. It's going to be a foul call. That's when we talked to Coach Odom for VCU. One of the many top games we've got coming up tomorrow on our network. Stalin, what about for you, your Saturday selections?
That game, Auburn-Kentucky, is going to be great. The game I want to see is Alabama on the road at Tennessee. Styles make fights. Alabama wants to play fast. They can score. Tennessee, we know, more defensive-minded. Arizona on the road at Iowa State. An Iowa State team has got a lot of injuries right now. We'll see if Curtis Jones is good. Is Keyshawn Gilbert fully good? They're trying to battle some stuff right now. And we'll see. That team's, when fully healthy, is capable of getting to a Final Four. So I'm interested where they're at. Same thing with Texas Tech. They go on the road to KU. They're battling some injuries right now. and Kansas is unranked. So I mean, that is a huge game, and can KU kind of stand tall against the Texas Tech team, and we'll see who's on the floor for them. Darian Williams, Chance McMillan dealing with stuff, and last but not least, BYU is rolling. They've won 9 of 11. They've won 5 straight, including wins over Kansas and Arizona. Edgar Denman is an absolute stud with the ball in his hands. They can shoot it. Coach Young, Kevin Young, doing a great job in his first year. BYU's got something special, as does VCU.
And that's Bamgboye knocking down a 3. VCU 8 of 17 from three-point range tonight, 47%. Conversely, 2 of 13 for the Wildcats. LaPut.
Good recovery by Russell.
Look at Russell.
Nice extra pivot, though, by LaPut. Well done.
LaPut's got 11 points. That leads Davidson here tonight. He's 5 of 7 from the field. Got 3 rebounds and an assist as well. But certainly an uphill climb right now at 54-27. Jackson.
Might be a foul inside on Blooms. He's all over Furman.
Russell got blocked by Lockney. All the teams that you were just talking about there for Saturday, I'm just thinking about how many really, really good teams in the country there were. I know if you want to go, hey, Auburn and Duke and, some of the top, teams for a potential championship. I don't know. Do you feel like there's more that have an opportunity this year? We've had this conversation before. No, 24 teams can't win the title, but what are you thinking this year?
I think a lot of teams get to a Final Four. I think the teams that can win it, I think Auburn is truly an elite team. I think Duke's talent is so high. I'm wondering if they're going to be pressure tested enough as Bannister's shot doesn't go. A shot clock violation. If they're pressure tested enough by the time you get to the tournament to win 6 and 6, they know how to play late game situations. Alabama, Florida can do it. Houston can do it when they're fully healthy. They've gotten healthy offensively. They are much better than they've been in years past. I question St. John's and Michigan State, their ability to make enough shots. They can get to the Final Four, but can you win the whole thing? Iowa State, when healthy, Final Four. Texas Tech, Final Four. There's a lot of teams capable of getting there, but I do think we're really looking at those 3 SEC teams, Houston and Duke, to win the title right now.
Okay. Foul here on VCU. Then some of the names, like you said, Kansas, unranked. Gonzaga, it was actually 8 in the net, by the way. Then I saw St. Mary's is 16 in the net. They just won the other night. I mean, I'm not saying that, but it's just crazy. Some of the metrics and the records.
Well, KU's problem is their home run splits are a mess, and their pieces don't really fit. They're the modern, personification of NIL gone wrong. You got all these players that have really performed at different schools, but have not been able to do it together and fit in their role. And Bill Self, a Hall of Famer, is trying to push all the buttons, but he's not getting the pieces to fit the right way, and guys that want to compete and understand what it is to wear that Kansas jersey, because they've gone on the road, they look like a different crew most times. But now being at home on Fog Island against Texas Tech, I think that's why it's the under the radar game. I think it's compelling for both teams, especially if the Red Raiders are healthy.
That's on the men's side. What about on the women's side? We got Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, College game day. They're in South Bend. Got a doubleheader action, Notre Dame and Louisville, and then Kentucky and South Carolina. I think now there's some opportunity on the women's side of who's going to be able to step up and get it done, in the tournament as well.
As we've said, there's a lot of parity, I think, in the more in the women's game than we've seen in years past, where a number of teams can go to the Final Four. Is there truly a dominant team? And UCLA is outstanding. USC is great. Notre Dame, South Carolina, UConn. You can keep Texas, obviously number one team in the nation, as they wave it off. That means it's going to be a really fun tournament. I think both tournaments will be truly compelling for the depth of both teams, both fields.
Little heated there for a moment. Reed Bailey gets called for the foul. That's his second. Bounce to Clark. Jennings, no, Furman there. Foul before that. Slam follow through.
Jennings is going to be a good player, man.
Yeah.
Got a good change of pace. Understands how to play. Good physical tools. 6'4", $175. Freshman from Richmond here. Played in the St. Christopher's School. trying to finish with that left hand through some contact. I think he did that to try to create more contact. He got fouled out on the ground first, actually, but beneficially was still getting hit when he got into a shooting motion. He could get to the line.
A little different these days, obviously, with the transfer portal and all that stuff, because the 5 starters, for this VCU team, 4 of the 5, are either seniors or graduate students. Okay, Russell, graduate student, Jack Clark, graduate student, Shulga, senior, Bamgboye, graduate student, and then Bamgboye, of course, when we're talking about him, he's a freshman. So, in years past, we're like, oh boy, they're going to lose all these guys. Like, well, a little different today. You can just kind of restack and reload.
You can reload. What's funny, they joke around with Jack Clark sometimes, calling him grandpa and whatnot, but Jack Clark was in college when Jennings was in middle school, and they're now on the same team. So that's the construct we were working on in college basketball, with a couple red shirts and the COVID year and all these different things.
Kind of moves full circle for Jack Clark. 4 for VCU. Started his career at LaSalle, NC State, Clemson, now back here in the A-10 at VCU.
Some of the experience he brings, and he played in an Elite 8 team last year at Clemson. Started, made plays in big games.
But it's Bailey, corner, Cochera, 3, yes.
When they get paint touches, they can score, but it's hard to do that. But they played off 2, good kick out, good extra pass. That is really bad transition defense, but the Shulga couldn't make it.
Jump ball stays at VCU.
I mean, this is part about transition defense. Communication, who's got ball, that's where it starts. Nobody calls the ball, nobody steps up. He gets all the way to lane and then misses. But that's where Matt McKillop will be upset watching some of the film. It was a lot of the things, all the things that were discussed in shoot-around, not translating here. This is a simple out-of-bounds play. Good recovery by Bailey, but it's the second time they've gotten that high screen. Last one, he got the ball close again to the hoop, but he was able to be walled off. This time he got all the way up. Bailey there to help. But simple things like transition D, communicating on that, communicating some screening action, it's going to be frustrating.
VCU's led by as many as 29. Bailey, it's been a tough night there. Jackson's going to be fouled by LaPut. There's second personal foul here. Oh, and a technical foul?
I think it's on Zeb Jackson. I'm seeing 2 white.
And did somebody get thrown out here at all, too? I saw a motion there from Clarence Armstrong. I mean, it's definitely a technical. I don't think anybody got thrown out, but yeah, it's just trash talking there for Jackson getting called for the T, and Durkin's going to go to the line.
And Roger Ayers just came over to confirm it was just technical foul for trash talking.
Yeah.
So he had a little something extra to say after the play. Again, from a veteran grad student.
Yeah, right there. You do look back. Armstrong was all over it. Said, "Nope, that's it." Yeah, he was just pointing at him. So Jackson with a T, his second personal foul.
He'll sub out because of that. I mean, Davidson does have 16 fouls already, so VCU is going to be back into a 1-on-1 situation potentially pretty quickly here, which could allow them to continue to extend their lead.
It's an athletic, deep team that I think you want to put on notice right now when the brackets come out in a couple weeks.
Yeah, they're playing their best basketball. They shoot threes. They can get into the paint with multiple guys. Offensive rebound. They defend at elite level, top 25 in the nation. Bad pass by Clark.
Teams won 13 of the last 14.
To win for those double bye teams 3 in 3 days is not easy. And everybody's playing for their life here, essentially. I mean, outside of VCU. I think George Mason is a tournament team. Their resume may not reflect it. That's the problem. So you've got to do it in DC, where some of the other high major tournaments you know you're going to play on. In this situation, you don't know. I think there's going to be desperation. It's going to be really fun and entertaining. And somebody's cutting down the nets. And if it isn't VCU, they're going to the dance. And it's probably going to be just 2 teams from this league.
The top 6 that you saw there in the standings were the same in the preseason, not in exactly that same order. VCU was the preseason favorite, and that's where they are right now. There's a foul here before the clock expired. It's on VCU. George Mason is the highest mover. They are preseason 6th. They're in 2nd place. And Loyola Chicago was picked 5th. They're up in 3rd right now. But then Dayton, St. Joe's, and St. Louis. I mean, to your point, I'd fear any one of those teams because anything can happen kind of on a neutral site, right? We've seen it here. We know how good VCU is here. They're 14-0. They're playing at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C.
We saw Dayton. Now you got to go back to November, but they had Iowa State down double digits, who I think is a Final Four team. They had North Carolina down double digits, who has not performed as well as we thought, but they didn't hold on in those games. They did beat UConn out there. We know what Dayton can do. They are an enigmatic team. They have some ups and some downs, but when they're up, they're as good as anybody in this league. That is for sure. And we'll get to see them here next week against VCU. But yes, in a neutral, and it will be, depends on who you play. Like if you're George Mason or Dayton and you get to play VCU, you know, you're getting a potential quad one win if you can win that game too. It may help your resume, which you need to continue to improve. And bear in mind, I think George Mason should be in the tournament. I think they're a quality team. When you watch them play, they are tournament worthy.
Right.
But their resume right now is challenged in their lack of quad one wins, but because of quad one opportunities. They don't have many relative to other teams you see in the Power 4 leagues, particularly in the SEC. And some of those teams have wins, but you compare them to an SMU or a Wake Forest or even a North Carolina, the resume looks pretty good when you got a 1-10 quad one record. Now, quad one, to explain it, I'm not going to give out the numbers. They're your really good wins. Let's just say that. That's what the committee is looking at. And George Mason has only had 3 of those games.
Well, if you're VCU, you want to see, not next week, of course, when you play them, but the Dayton Flyers kind of move up a little bit, and they are now inside the top 75 in the net because, to your point, that is a factor. Now VCU does have a quad one win at Dayton, and you see that's what happens is this is going to be a foul here. When you hope for teams that you beat, obviously, to do really well because then it increases some of those numbers. So there's a look at the net rankings right now. I mean, VCU at 29.
I mean, VCU's getting in. And the thing is, you mentioned, because the top 75 cutoff on the road, and they won at Dayton. Now Dayton has to return that game here. And yeah, you want those teams to do well. That's why, BC struggling or Virginia Tech struggling hurts the Rams because they blew those teams out, but then they're not performing well despite the fact they're being ACC teams. And to go back to the scheduling, again, teams don't want to play these guys. It was a famous Frederick Douglass quote. It's like, power seeds nothing. It never has, it never will, without a demand. And there is no demand that the Power Four have to play anybody outside of their league. So you're never going to just cede that opportunity to give it to these teams to play you, to beat you, to improve their record. That's why they're in a tough spot.
Minardi's got him as an 11 seed. Look out.
Yeah, 11-6 game. Those are some of the most ripe upsets we've seen in recent years.
We always love the 12-5, okay?
Yeah.
But even the 11-6. Sometimes that doesn't matter as much anymore, to be honest with you, right? I mean, even the name on the jerseys, in years past, because you have like a predetermined, like what you think of a certain team.
You all have bias, yeah.
Yes.
Not the brand.
But not anymore, right? Like, I'm not as surprised anymore when you see certain teams beat certain teams. Oh, my God, they beat them? Like, yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They got these guys transfer this and that, whatever. It's not the same kind of team name like you're used to, if you will. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that, but you cover the game. I think like casual fans, people still lead into their bias. Like when they see Kansas is not ranked.
Right.
People are like, whoa, Kansas is, what's going on in Kansas?
Right.
I mean, that's those brands carry that. North Carolina's not ranked. Like North Carolina may not get in the tournament. Like that type of stuff will shock people coming up in the next week or two that are casual sports fans that are tuning into the tournament, which captivates our country for 3 weeks.
Durkin kicks it out. Blooms misses on the 3. Offensive rebound, Durkin. Back out to LaPut. He's done really well here today for this Davidson team. LaPut's 11 points, 5 of 7 from the field, but obviously it's been a struggle overall. Here's Bailey, who has not been able to perform the way he's wanted to. He's got 6 points. He's now 1 for 12 from the field, and that has hurt Davidson's chances for sure. And this guy, a potential Player of the Year candidate, Max Shulga, for the bucket.
Davidson's been much better offensively, which has helped them keep this thing from getting too out of hand. But defensively, the transition game has been a bit of an issue. And you also saw where Bamgboye's length. He didn't block Bailey's shot, but he threw him off, and he made him put too much on it. He's constantly there, and it's been a tough night for Bailey.
I mean, that was the first field goal for VCU in the last 5 minutes as they had missed their previous 7 shots, and they're still up by 22. Cochera, Florida got it.
The crowd got Shulga. Shulga closed out and thought that was going to be a shot clock violation. When he blew by, he rolled his head like, oh, I'm an idiot. He plays here, he knows that, but he was reacting to the crowd. And credit Davidson, they did not. They knew the numbers. They played right through it, and they get a bucket. Oh, boy, turnover. That's good upside by Durkin.
You're not hoping it hurts your offense, your defensive team, right? Like your team by counting out fake numbers. Here's a three that's good by Cochera. And it's down to a 17-point game with just under 9 minutes to go.
One of the best sequences of the game for the Davidson Wildcats. Great help side by Durkin on that short roll pass. He picks it off. They go down and bang a three. Turning a little momentum here. Maybe they can keep battling here, make this thing tighter down the road.
But that was incredible to get him.
Yeah, those 44 points, though, one was against Oklahoma, one's against NC State, so high major competition. But remember that 08 Heat and then that tournament run, that's what the tournament does for people. It puts you on a different stage. In 2008, he announced his presence to the world and this whole Wildcats team. They went to the Elite Eight. Right. I mean, on the way, they beat Gonzaga, Georgetown, Wisconsin, and they only ended up falling to the eventual national champions, Kansas and Bill Self that year. Like, what he did in that tournament shows you its impact on our country, how much we love the Cinderella. Now, he has now become one of the greatest shooter in the history of the game, and a guy that revolutionized basketball as it's played in our country. That we didn't see from 2008, but it's pretty remarkable.
Right. I mean, he was an incredible player coming out, but the way he has improved his game and cemented himself, like you said, in history as really, I agree with you, the greatest shooter. I mean, it's anywhere on the court. I mean, it's that ridiculous. I mean, there's been some awesome ones, right? But I mean, he has certainly taken it to another level.
Well, you know, he took it to another level too. Is that Serbia-U.S. gold medal game was one of the that performance was something. I mean, the Olympic game, that was something else, man. Like what he was doing with the world watching and the pressure that those U.S. athletes feel on that basketball court was truly something else. The best of the best, and he stood out in that group.
Yeah, well said. Robert Bloom's here for Davidson over to Cochera. It's a 17-point game in favor of the Rams. It was a 29-point lead and 1 point for VCU.
Davidson's run better offense, have gotten better looks, but you know, VCU is definitely taking their foot off the gas in terms of even that. Like Michael Bell, bad closeout, good job by LaPut, again, who's having a really good game, the D2 All-American, the transfer from Bentley. Under control, nice step back. The play before that, they went transition right past Shulga for a layup. Like VCU's not guarding with the same intensity or urgency they did the first 20 minutes of this game.
Shulga works his way in, tough little fadeaway. Offensive rebound, the basket and a foul. That's what VCU's done all night. It's Bamgboye. And that's the 14th offensive rebound tonight. 13 second chance points. All right, guys.
Coach dropping knowledge on everybody. Let them know the pedigree. The trade selling to the family.
Right out of the gates here tonight, it was VCU that got off to a 16-1 lead. I mean, that, you know, you have to kind of go back to that point. I mean, that's.
But again,
the foul.
Bamgboye, no block there, but you know the shot blocker is coming, so he throws it, puts it up so high, it alters the shot. It goes over the box essentially, so it bounces off the backboard and off the other side of the rim. That's the effect he has on the play. It doesn't have to be the block that he gets 2 of those a game. He alters shots and makes you think, it makes you do things that you wouldn't normally do.
Yeah, VCU put the hurt on in this game early and have been playing from double digits up throughout the entire night. Now the 2 teams in this conference that have beaten this VCU team, it was St. Bonaventure way back at the end of December 31st, the first conference game. And that was in New York. They won 77-75, and then a loss at St. Louis for VCU on January 28th. They lost 78-69.
And Ryan Odom said both those games kind of gave them a little something. Like the Bonaventure game woke them, not they wouldn't expect the game at Bonnie's to be tough, but it kind of woke them up like, all right, guys, this is what we have to do. This is how we have to play.
Right. And
in St. Louis, they were being a little selfish there. He said 70% of the times the guy that drove the ball shot the ball. That's not how they play. They're top 20 in the nation in assist rate. They want to get into the lane, kick it out, open 3, kick it out, drive it again. They want to play together, and they've really done that well the last 7 games where they're beating teams by over 20 points a game.
What I like about this VCU team is the response, okay? You go back to the last 3 losses they had. Davidson drives in and doesn't go. LaPointe the rebound. After each of those losses, they had a 20-point win, a 19-point win, and a 41-point win. Okay, that's responding, right? After some adversity. And look at this.
Yeah, and the three-pointers made too, man. It's what makes them tough to guard. Is at all points in time, there's usually 4 guys on the floor that can make a 3, and they're making in league play over 10 a game at just under 37%. And that is really problematic when you're trying to guard, because it creates, you need to close out on these guys, you need to be on them, but it creates driving lanes and seams. And again, when you're in rotation, which they put teams in a lot, that helps your offensive rebounding advantage, which they exploit.
Top 10 in the nation in scoring margin, almost 16 points a game on average is Clark, who's been very efficient tonight, 6 of 8 from the field. He's got 16 points, and that leads VCU in scoring.
Nice job by Bamgboye, too, to kind of box off his defender until he couldn't help. He kind of just got in his way, and Marcin Gortat and kind of ushered him out on play.
Durkin to the corner, LaPointe for 3. It's good.
He's been great. He's been really efficient. Yeah, 7 of 9, in the game now. 16 points. Able to get in the lane and create a couple plays for other people. Looking to deliver when his number is called.
Much better job in the second half for Davidson shooting. And a foul coming up the court. They're 53% from the field this half.
Look at Ryan Odom. Just looking at Shulga like, bro, what are we doing here? Because he threw a no-look lob there. So when he threw the no-look, you got to believe that the backside defense isn't there. He didn't identify it. He threw it right into the defender. And Ryan Odom was just like, what are we doing? Like, we need to continue to play at a level that we expect to play. They have really downshifted, and he's not going to love that in the second half. Granted, they're going to win the game,
right,
but how they've played here at moments in the second half won't look great on film. Some teachable moments will come out here.
Well, I'm going to say this. I mean, they've been challenged at times, but then there's been games like this one pretty much where they've been in control the whole time. I'm not quite sure. I mean, you're gonna slide into Washington, D.C. for the A-10 tournament, and that mindset, things are going to change a little bit there.
But that's what you want to argue as a coach, is we don't want to get in this place where we're turning it on and turning it off.
Right.
We want to keep it on, keep our pedal to the metal, keep playing at a certain level. And they haven't really done that in the little things. There have been some mental mistakes. There have been some lackadaisical plays with the ball, and it's a lot on defense in the second half. And again, we saw them at their best already today, and they've downshifted. That's the one thing he says, guys, we can't play that. We don't want to do that.
Bamgboye on the feed for Jackson, and he's got 15 points. And speaking of efficiency, he's 7 of 8 tonight. Got to give 20 in red some credit, Zach LaPointe. He's got a new career high with 18 points. He battles for that rebound, and he knocked it out of bounds over to VCU. But going all out tonight. They're certainly up against it here in this environment where VCU more than likely is going to go to 15-0 here at home inside the Siegel Center. The place is packed. Ninth sellout of the season. We remember, I mean, you and I have been here many a times in that sellout streak that they had.
We were wearing cowboy hats one day, yellow styrofoam cowboy hats, which, thank you to my phone, every like 6 or 7 months it serves me that picture so I get to see your smiling face.
It pops up.
Like 10 years ago. That's like 10, 12 years ago.
Well, I mean, from 2011, at the end of January, all the way to the 2021 season, there was 166 consecutive sellouts here in this building. You talk about one of the great home environments and toughest places to play. You know, you're looking at it right here tonight in Richmond, Virginia. All right, thanks a lot, guys. And it's not just VCU here at home this year, by the way. Look at the top 4 in the Atlantic 10. And you talk about how tough it is to beat any one of these teams on their home floor. 59-4 and 27-3 in conference this season for these 4.
And VCU's delivered 2 of those.
Right.
To Loyola Chicago and to Dayton, which is pretty funny when you think about how impactful they've been. But overall, the league, it's 6th out of the 32 conferences in terms of home winning percentage, which is pretty impressive to say the least. That the league teams protect their home court. That's important to do in college basketball.
Yeah, George Mason was the only other team that beat one of those top 4, and that was at Dayton along with VCU. So it's been certainly very, very tough.
Bamgboye. The crowd's loving it.
What do we miss? The free chicken or something like that going on here?
Somebody got some free something.
Yeah.
We'll get on it. We'll get research on it. What'd they get?
Need to find that out.
One thing's big. Bamgboye making free throws. I mean, league play is 25%, so
maybe that was
him being able to step up and knock down some free throws is pretty important for the growth of him as a player.
VCU 8 of 10 on the game from the free throw line, 8 of 20 from three-point range. The rebounding is what has destroyed Davidson, 41 to 23.
And it's the offensive boards. Yes, they've created more stops with defensive rebounds, and you can see why it's lopsided, but it's 14 offensive boards, 14 second chance points was a key part. When you can't get a clean rebound, you can't play ahead of this very tough VCU defense, which is problematic.
Cochera inside. Staying with Davidson.
Shot clock issue. It went to 20 seconds. They're resetting it to 10.
Yep.
The guys in the studio are probably saying, "Can they take a look? Let's take a look. Let's go to the board. Let's go figure out some time." The fill is imminent, boys.
They're going to have a fill tonight? 8 minutes before the top of the hour?
I said 15. We got to probably get it to 9:04, I'm guessing.
Shaw going to rebound. Almost traveled. Got it to Bamgboye. Got it back.
But I know Coach Green, he wants the film.
He does.
He likes to educate the fans. I'm lazy. I want to just sit there in between games. It's difference. That's why he's won Big Ten in like conference championships playing boys, and I have not been close.
Jack Clark on the bucket. He's got 18 now, and that leads VCU in scoring. 1 over Bamgboye's 17. 21-point VCU lead. Durkin. Cochera trying to force it back into Durkin. Battle for it. VCU comes up with it on the run. Zeb Jackson fouled hard by the foot. Let me get your take real quick on Davidson, a team that we knew was coming in a little with the deck stacked against them here tonight in terms of players and athleticism and how they match up. What about for them moving forward? You know, what they need in the makeup of their team under Matt McKillop, who's now in his 3rd season.
Yeah, well, when Sean Logan got hurt, it definitely changed their team. He was their best 5-man defender. Reed Bailey moved from the 4 to the 5, played 4 guards, have a little less physicality, a little less strength at the rim on the rebounding, but also in defensive capabilities. Overall, this team is still trending in the right direction. They're going 16 and 12 coming into the game. They've got good players, really well coached. They've got a good staff. It's part of the challenge here, and I wonder with in college basketball when you have the house settlement in the ether here coming down in the summer. For people that don't know, the schools will be paying the players directly, most likely if the settlement goes through, in terms of a revenue sharing thing to compensate these athletes in a more formal manner. That said, what does that mean for Davidson as an organization, as a company, as a school?
Yeah.
How are they paying? What is the number by which they have to dole out? And how does it then disperse to all the different athletes? This goes to every school. Every administration, every president and AD has to figure out who are we paying and what. So how does that work for VCU? How does it work for Davidson? But the funds that some of these schools have access to are different based on the size of your institution and how much you're willing to give, able to give. But for Power 4 teams, you got to give $20 million. We know that. So that's a pretty hefty price. You got to divvy up between these athletes, which, you know, given how much they generate, I'm not knocking that at all.
Jennings on the follow for the bucket. Shulga has departed the game, by the way, with a career-high 11 rebounds tonight, 8 points, and they just got so many other weapons. Didn't quite need him putting up 15, 20, but the reigning player of the week has certainly been outstanding and on his way to another All-A-10 first-team selection and possibly the player of the year. We'll have to see.
I think he's the leader to be the player of the year because of how he impacts the game on both sides of the ball. And now Bailey and Jennings, and Bailey and Russell having some words, but let's just separate here. And the referee's in there. Clarence Armstrong and Kip Kissinger right away.
Yeah, don't need any of that at this point with a 23-point VCU lead. We'll take. Back in Richmond, Virginia here tonight with VCU on top by 23. Mike Corey and Dallin Cuff. Big thanks to our statistician Richard Simmons along with Spencer Douglas. Doing a great job tonight. Our producer is John Marquis with our director Ed Curran. Thanks to Austin Hatley, our technical director. Chris Barrios, Jason Dodge. Thanks to Tim Clare, Tracy Vigorito, Kendall Howard. Great work tonight by our audio team all around. Jacob Edelman with Cody Harden and Stephen Hanks and Echo Ampa.
Great crew at VCU, always.
Yes.
Great crew back at Bristol running the show, but all the folks on the floor here have been here for, again, countless VCU games with us, and we're always in such great hands when we come to Siegel Center.
We'll do it again next week.
Let's run it back. Dayton, come on in. And that's our swan song.
On tape tonight, Tommy Martins with Alex Maldonado. Thank you. On video, Timothy Arns and our great camera crew here, and our good friends Sean Connolly and Jim Porter, along with Brian McIntyre and Stephen Barry. Thanks, guys. We'll see you again next week.
Yeah, we'll see Connolly in his Liverpool hat. He'll be here.
That's right, you guys with the soccer.
Arsenal's capitulation this year has been hard to watch, but he literally will text me, I'd say, like every month just to let me know how it's going. It's not going well.
Oh, here's Hill for three. It's Terrence Hill Jr. Everyone getting into the act tonight for the Rams.
Freshman from Portland. It's a rarity. VCU playing 2-3 zone, but they'll do it here just to solve this thing away.
Knocked away. James. Foul with 31.6.
The crowd loved this one. The crowd did not get any free chicken. We were told Devil went down to Georgia and played before, and they were still amped up as it came back from break there. But they're celebrating Hill and hitting that shot. I mean, that's what he does. He comes in the game and shoots threes. 10 of his 16 shots in league play are all threes.
Davidson's season low points was versus St. Louis this year, 56. They got 53 here today. VCU's going to go to 15-0 at home. Winners of 14 of their last 15 games. And the last 4 games beat UMass by 29, George Mason by 16, Richmond by 18. And now they're up 27 here tonight.
Go on the road to play Duquesne before returning here to play Dayton in the season finale. Not going to be an easy game. I mean, Duquesne has nipped some teams at home.
Three ball. Looking good by Blues. And now VCU will run it out. It's a tough team, everyone. Keep an eye out for the Rams. 80-56. They got 24 wins on the season. It's matched last year's total already. 24-5. They win at 80-56 tonight.
To quote Dennis Green, they are who we thought they were. They defend, they rebound, they make threes, they play together, and it was a dominating performance yet again at home. Looking forward to how they finish this season, the next 2.
They've won 8 in a row. And we'll be back here again next Friday night for our final Atlantic 10 Friday night showcase game as they take on the Dayton Flyers.